I had thought for sure that we were going to get a Switch Pro this year. And then COVID happened, and I was like, fuck, there goes my Miss Cleo streak. And we're like already into 2021. I was like, it can't possibly happen, but damn it! It could still happen! There's a chance.
It's happening.
There's a chance, Mr. Black. Rumors started flying here yesterday, or late yesterday, early today, about a Switch Pro coming back around, possibly landing towards the end of this year, possibly into 2022. It would feature a 7-inch OLED display, still 720p, but be capable of outputting 4K in docked mode when you're hooked up to your TV. So, a lot of people were a couple things. People were obviously seeing 720p and going, why would you re-release another Switch with a 720p handheld screen? That's terrible. At least make it 1080p. It's got to be possible now. And then a lot of other people also wondering if this is going to make their current accessories obsolete. Like, is the form factor going to change? Is it going to be bigger? Is my carrying case no longer going to work? Are like my current Joy-Cons still going to fucking slot into this thing, etc., etc.?
Is it even real?
Is it even? It's 100% real. I fucking promise you it's real. I promise you. Now, which one of these details or all of are correct? God only knows. I promise you a Switch Pro is coming, or the next, whatever they call it. It's without question coming. They've even been like quietly updating the current SKUs of Switches, and it ends up with brighter screens, longer battery life, etc., etc. They just don't actually name it. So something's coming for sure. It's just a matter of when. If they did it this year, it would definitely be like the end of the year. But I think it's more than likely they announce it and then it ends up being in the early part of next year. More than likely the spring of next year. I think it's definitely necessary. I mean, the console has been hurting to put out fucking frames for a long time. Pretty much since launch, actually. It didn't even have, like, at no point has it been putting out frame rates that anyone has been happy with, except for the most diehard Nintendo fans. And a lot of that was that they put the Tegra, I think it's the Tegra X1 in the original, and that was like 6 months or less outside of the next generation of Tegra chips that had just been coming up that would have made like fucking monstrous improvements in performance. So they missed the ship a bit awkwardly. It's still definitely going to be an NVIDIA bit. If it's going to output 4K in docked mode, it's going to be using DLSS, which is what they use on desktop with games to try and help reach 4K at higher resolutions. A Nintendo Switch in docked mode is not going to hit native 4K. It's not even going to hit checkerboarded 4K. It's just not going to fucking happen. But with DLSS, with an NVIDIA chip on board, sure, yes, okay. As for the 720p thing, people need to maybe chill out a bit about that. You know, if you're playing a game on your phone, you play it in like any kind of performance mode, if it runs around 720p, you'll be doing well to tell the difference between 720 and 1080. But what you will tell the difference between is how long your battery lasts. The difference between 720p gaming and 1080p in terms of holding something in your hand and playing it is huge for battery life. The thing that people will also likely, look past it, if they never even said it was 720p, people would still be like, wow, this is so fucking crisp and amazing, because it's an OLED screen now. The colors are going to be fucking light years ahead of what the Switch currently has. The clarity of the contrast and colors of this new screen are going to basically smash the original out of the park. And then really the 720p thing, I don't think people are going to give a fuck about anymore. The frame rates will also be a lot better. I would suspect that there won't be any games that don't run at 60 FPS in handheld mode at this point. And also in docked mode. I think 60 FPS is going to be a pretty common thing. In docked mode, I suspect we're going to get a lot more of them pushing it still like they do with new consoles, so they'll have frame drops now and then. But it will look better. It will be capable of higher resolutions. It'll probably have a better battery life as well in the process. It will be a very good update. I think the body won't change. I think they're going to look to do this as cheap as possible. Like, if I grab my Switch And this is a like I said, this is a Mark 1. This is the OG. This is the 13-minute battery life version of the Switch. So, you can see right now, given the size of the screen, how much extra room they have, but it's just bezels, right? I suspect the new screen is probably going to be exactly the same body, but they're just blowing the screen up to be pretty much this entire form with very little bezels. Like all these bezels, it's going to be no more fucking iPhone chin type shit. It's just going to be all free, friggin' screen, kind of like you're going to see in phones and whatnot. So I suspect that's what you're more likely to get. So I wouldn't worry too much about your shit not working. But then again, it's Nintendo, and in the past, they have enjoyed making accessories obsolete for the sake of knowing that lots of people will rebuy them anyway. So you never know. But there you have it. I personally would probably replace my Switch if the new one is legitimately that much better than this one. If only to play games on my TV at more than 15 FPS, because that shit's fucking like... It's painful, Nintendo! It should have never happened in the first place, Nintendo! Fucking nobody wants that 15 FPS shit. And then they can remake all their games in HD and re-release them for full price and do the classic Nintendo thing, Jeff.
Perfect.
It would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Of note, do you have a Vita? Not that I want you to go find it, but do you have a Vita sitting around somewhere?
No, I sold my only Vita.
Okay, so the Vita, I think the 2011 or whatever model of the Vita had an OLED screen as well. And so if anyone's ever owned a Vita, you look at that, you'll have an idea of what the new Switch would likely look like in terms of screen quality. It would be better than that because obviously it's 10 years newer, but the OLED panel for the Vita was very, very nice. This would be likely even better, and so you can look forward to having something similar there.